Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Houston Sharpshooters Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we had the entire offseason, including the draft, and we got some pretty good prospects in for our team, and I think we could have a better year than we did last year, where we only won 5 games. So hopefully we can improve upon last year's results. Now, I won't have any comments to go over for this episode because I am pre-recording this episode a little bit ahead of time because I do have 2 hockey games to go to this weekend, so I decided I'm going to pre-record this episode, so I apologize about that. But let's take a look at our prospects that we got in last episode at the draft, just so you guys can get a feel for what this team looks like going into this upcoming season again. So as you can see, we picked up Raimo Jääskeläinen with our first round pick at 2nd overall. Very excited to see what he could do this year. Obviously, he's not really a huge offensive player, but he is very good all around, so I'm expecting him to have a pretty solid season. And then we also got Dmitry Korostin in the 2nd round, and he looks like he's going to be a pretty good goal scorer for this team, which is something we don't really have. So I'm very excited to see what he could do for us this year. We also have Todd Malhotra, who was a 7th round pick of ours, but he is going to get a chance to play in the top 6, mainly because he's got like 82 passing, which is actually pretty good. So if we put him next to somebody that could shoot the puck like Goldobin maybe, who doesn't actually have good shooting, but maybe somebody like Goldobin, maybe he could pick up some points. And then in terms of our defensive core, we drafted Ty Dubnyk, who should be also pretty interesting to see what he could do. He's only got 7th D potential, but at 62 overall at 19 isn't too bad, so maybe he could develop into being like a 75 or something at most. And then we also drafted Roger Turris, who's another good defensive prospect, low top 4 potential, 62 overall at 18. He looks pretty good all around, so I'm expecting him to be maybe a top 4 defenseman at best. Maybe not, maybe he'll reach like a top 6 potential defenseman, but I think he could actually develop into being something good as long as he gets some good production throughout the season. And then finally, we also picked up some goaltenders. We picked up Brandon Kahn. He's going to be our backup this year. He's a fringe starter goaltender just like Sven Jansson is. And then we also picked up a medium elite goaltender in Stefan Soderstrom, who's going to get to play in the AHL this year, just so we could get him a little bit more development before he hops into the NHL, because he's a 48 right now, so very low overall, but definitely a high ceiling there as well. So yeah, that's basically what we drafted in last episode. I'm also going to quickly show you guys what each of these players look like, because I could have done that for last year's draft picks as well, but I completely forgot about doing that. And then also, the guys that you see on the thumbnail aren't even a part of this team anymore. Those are the original players that I drafted before my game decided to not save the file. And I almost lost this save file again too, which is pretty crazy. Luckily for the auto-save backups, this save file managed to save this one, or else I would have had to redo that entire offseason again, which would have been really annoying. But anyways, I'll show you guys all our players on our team currently, what they look like just for fun. So this is what Raimo Jääskeläinen looks like. He kind of has a crazy hairdo, which I was not really expecting. So yeah, that's Raimo Jääskeläinen. He's not our captain. It just shows the captain part for there for some weird reason. He's not even got an alternate captaincy, because right now I have our captain set as our first ever pick, which was Kyler Morales, which I will show you guys him right now. But I'm expecting some big things from this top line this year. This is what Kyler Morales looks like. He looks like a very old man, but he's only like 19 years old, so pretty crazy with all that gray hair. Just so you guys can put some faces to these names. Todd Malhotra, as I was just mentioning, our 7th round pick in last episode. Very excited to see what he could do. He looks like a pretty serious guy that he's going to work hard for his team. It looks like he would like probably be in like the military or something for some reason. So there's Todd Malhotra. And then we also got Cedric Holloway, who was in our first year draft. Can't remember what round, but he's another bottom 6 forward prospect. Well, not really prospect, a roster player. He kind of looks more Russian or like a older man as well. He doesn't look like he's 19. And then we go down the list to Mr. Cole Sim, who's another bottom 6 guy. He seems like the guy that's taking the longest to develop, because he's only like a 56 right now. I'm kind of concerned about those 2 bottom 6 forwards, but hopefully they could get to like a 70 something at least. But yeah, this is what Cole Sim looks like. Good little kind of afro going, curly hair. And then we go on to our right wingers. We got Dmitry Korostin, like who I was just mentioning, is probably going to be our best goal scorer on this team for years to come until we could get a elite sniper or something. but he kind of looks like a Brock Besser, so hopefully he could score a decent amount of goals like Brock Besser. And then we go to Vladimir Goldobin, low top 9. Hopefully he develops into being something. He might end up going up to like a 79 at best or something, but hopefully he develops into something. Rocking a little stash, which is kind of funny. So yeah, that's Goldobin. And then we go to our defensive prospects. We won't show you guys Christopoulos because he's a real player, so it doesn't really matter. But Nikolai Mikanov, one of our better defensemen. This is what he looks like, rocking that beard, kind of looking like a Brent Burns, which is kind of cool. Hopefully he ends up playing like a Brent Burns, getting us a lot of goals or something. And then we also have Ty Dubnyk, the 7th defenseman. I almost said Dubnyk for some reason. I don't know why. But he's also rocking the same kind of beard, kind of like the wild man style. So our defensive core is looking pretty old too, even though they're only 19 years of age. We also got Roger Turris. Hopefully Roger Turris could pan out. He looks like this. Kind of looks like a porn star with the blonde hair and a blonde mustache. But yeah, hopefully he could do us some good stuff on the back end. And that's it for defense because Christopoulos doesn't really matter. And then we go to Sven Jonsson and Brendan Kahn. I won't show you guys Steven Soderstrom yet because we'll wait till he gets to the NHL. But this is what Sven Jonsson looks like, our starting goaltender, coming back for his 2nd year in the NHL. Hopefully he continues to get some good development. And then Brandon Kahn, who we drafted in last episode, hopefully he has a good first year. Or a solid first year, I should say, at least. He looks like this. So that is what our team looks like going into year number 2. And I am excited to get simulating. So let's simulate the entire season and see how this team does. I'm going to give a projection right now that I think we're going to win more games than last year. So I'm going to guess somewhere around 8 to 10 wins I think we could get this season. If we get more than 10 wins, that would be really nice. But I honestly would want to have the best chances at getting the first overall pick again because there is some defensemen in this year's draft that might be intriguing for a team like us that needs to build up our blue line as well. So yeah, let's just get the rest of the season done and see how this team does. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I was offering some scouts some contracts because we do need a scout in the DEL, so I want to just make sure he's in the right area first. And we also did reassign one of our scouts that were, I believe, in like the AHL to scouting out the USA West because we didn't have a scout in USA West. Because we want to make sure we have scouts in all the regions, obviously, to get our top prospects in. So we need, Janicki was the one that needs to go over, not from the NLA. Because the NLA never really has a lot of prospects, so we need to assign him over to the DEL. Because the DEL will have more prospects than the NLA will, I'm pretty sure. So that is good and set up and ready to go. So let's simulate this year 2 season and see how we play. And yeah, hopefully we could get some guys breaking some team records or something like that, because that would be kind of nice. Because we don't really have any good records so far. Like the most saves in the game currently is Dubois, who was our backup last year. It was just one of the free agent signings to fill out our team, and he's in the AHL this year. So we don't have a lot of guys on our roster that actually have any records. Like Morales currently has the best for rookie records. Wow, we started the season off with 2 wins and an OT loss, so that's actually really impressive. Yeah, we started the season off this good. I mean, our morale still needs some work, but I feel like we're definitely improving, though, in this team a lot. Like, we're right now kind of like an AHL club, I would say, in terms of overall ratings, but if we continue to develop this way, we might end up being, like, kind of an NHL team within the next, like, 3 or 4, maybe 5 seasons, or, like, a low-end NHL team. I don't know, maybe a high-end AHL team. Really depends on our drafts. But since those opening games, we have lost every game, so that's not too good. But I really hope we can win more games than last year, just to see if we can improve upon that first year. But for right now, it doesn't look that great, probably because Dubois is in the AHL and we're playing one of our draft picks as a backup goalie, I would assume. So we're kind of a weaker team in terms of goaltending, but everywhere else we're kind of improved upon, I think. But this is a really rough season so far. It doesn't look like we're scoring goals, and looks like we're having a really bad trouble keeping the puck out of our net. There's a win over Philadelphia, though, to get our 3rd win of the season. Can we get any more wins? Or are we going to have less wins than last year? I mean, that's not a bad thing. It's still because our prospects are going to get some development this year regardless. and hopefully we have a good chance at first overall this year. So let's just go like this and continue simulating, because we're not doing any trades obviously in this franchise mode, and of course the game is going to have that stupid glitch. Let me just simulate there to the end, because I want to actually be able to see what's happening each game. I wonder if we got any home wins so far this season, because last year we didn't win a single home game, which is kind of ridiculous. It'd be nice to win a home game this year, but I don't know if that's the case right now. Because, yeah, it looks like we're going to have a worse season than last year, which kind of sucks, but hopefully our prospects are getting development, because that's really what matters. Okay, last few games of the season, and we're going to finish 377-2, so we have a worse season than year number 1, which kind of concerns me to an extent. But that does give us the best odds at the first overall pick. So Karostin led us in points, which is pretty impressive. 40 points in 82 games. We're definitely going to take a look at that. But we do have the worst record in the league by quite a large margin. Let's take a look at that standings and see if we've improved upon anything at all from last season. So entire league-wise, obviously we're going to be dead last by quite a large margin. By how much points is that? 52 would be 60, 54 points. Yeah, 377-2. We scored 86 goals this year. I think last year we had under a goals for per game. So we scored more goals this year than we did last year. So we improved upon that at least. And then goals against per game, I think we also improved. But we are still the worst in the league. But I think we had like over 5 goals against per game last season. So I think we are improving, but our team just had a worse season, which is kind of surprising. Power play percentage obviously did last 5%. And our penalty kill percentage is 78.6, almost not dead last in the league, just behind New Jersey. It's not too bad of a season, I'd say, still, even though we once again have yet to win a game on home ice. We lost one in overtime, but we never won a home game through our first 2 seasons, which is pretty crazy. All 3 of our wins on the road. It's kind of weird that we haven't won on home ice yet. Hopefully we could do that next season, because obviously our fans must hate going to games if we're not going to win games. Let's take a look at our player stats for this season, see who did what. So Jääskeläinen, 35 points, only a minus 67. So yeah, we definitely improved upon our defense, I think, a bit. But that's a pretty good first season from Raimo Jääskeläinen. He's up to a 79 and listed as a third-line checking forward, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, not too bad of a debut for Jääskeläinen, because minus 67 is a lot better than like some of the players we had last year where they're like a minus 90 something. What else we got here? Kneisler doesn't matter. We're just looking at our prospects. Morales, 33 points this year and a minus 60. He's up to an 83, so that's really good to see him getting some development. We actually might have a legitimate first line soon. But yeah, Morales just barely improving upon last year, scoring less goals but picking up more assists and a lot more penalty minutes. Not too bad. And his giveaway takeaway ratio is also improving by a large margin too, so that's really good. We go to Todd Malhotra, 16 points in his rookie season, a minus 98, but he is up to a 65 overall at 20 years of age, which is not too bad. Hopefully he continues to get better, but his plus minus is really bad so far. But 16 points, I'll take that. Hopefully he continues to get some growth. Holloway, 7 points in 82 games in his second season. A worse year than last year, but maybe less ice time. Yeah, less ice time by 6 minutes. But he is a 58 overall. I don't remember if he was a 58 to start this episode. Then we have Cole Sim, only 4 assists in 82 games and a minus 78. So no goals for Cole Sim through 82 games, which is weird because last year he had 9 goals and only 1 assist. So kind of a weird simulation for him. He's averaging less ice time as well per game, but good to see him at least play somewhat better defensively in terms of the plus minus. Then we go to our right wingers, Karostin leading the team in points in his first season with 40 points in 82 games, 16 goals, which is pretty impressive, and a minus 63. He only shot 6.8% though, but it's good to see him doing pretty well to start off his career. He is a 73 overall, so I don't think he got any development, or maybe he did. No, I don't think he did get any development. which is kind of concerning, but hopefully the offseason he could get some growth. Gold Open, 18 points in 82 games. That's pretty solid. He's a 63 overall. Don't know if he improved upon last year. He is averaging less ice time though, and yeah, he just barely put up less points, so not too bad still. Way better plus-minus differential, because last year he was a minus 132. We go to our defenseman, and Paul Christopoulos, a minus 129. Yikes. He's up to a 61, but so far through 164 games, he's a minus 271. He had the exact same point totals, but a little bit better of a plus-minus, but still, this guy is on the ice for a lot of goals against. He might not even be a part of our future, really, because he's got AHL top 2 potential. Roger Turris, in his rookie season, 11 points and minus 123. Still 62 overall, which is kind of concerning that some of these guys aren't getting much development. And then Ty Dubnyk was a minus 93 and 11 points, still 62, but not too bad defensively for him in his first season. And then Mikanov, 6 points and a minus 94. A lot better plus-minus wise this year, and less points, but a better shooting percentage. So that's not too bad. Throws a lot of hits and blocks a lot of shots, so that's a good thing. And then we go to our goaltenders. Sven Jansson winning 2 games this year with an .897 and a 4.41 goals against average, which is an improvement upon last year, save percentage-wise and goals against-wise. And he actually did pick up 1 shutout this season, which is pretty impressive considering how bad this team actually is. To have a shutout in one of our 3 games that we won, I like that. He is a 65 overall. I don't know if he's gotten any development. And then Brandon Kahn in his first season, winning 1 game, had an .869 save percentage and a 562 goals against. He is a 54 overall. We quickly take a look at our AHL system just because of Stefan Soderstrom. He only won 3 games this year, but an .880 save percentage and a 4.14 goals against. He is up to a 50 overall, so getting a little bit of development. Hopefully he gets more going into next season. But so yeah, that is our second season here in Houston. Not really another successful one, but at least we are getting some development, and hopefully we can get some more good prospects going into this next year's draft. So let's simulate up to the draft to find out where we're drafting and all that. We'll also take a look at the awards and all that type of thing. But not too bad of a year for Houston, I guess, even though it was less successful than last year because of the lack of wins. But the prospect development is the most important part probably with this young team. Okay, so who's going to win the Stanley Cup in year number 2? It is going to be... It's going to be the New York Rangers, okay, and the Ontario Reign win the AHL. So let's take a look at those individual awards, see if anybody else from us got an award, because last year we did get an award, but it was, I think it was Christopoulos for, like, what is it? What's that award called? I can't even remember, but I'll show you guys in a bit. So Rangers win the Stanley Cup, Buffalo won the President's Trophy, and it was Vegas and the Rangers in the Stanley Cup Finals. Jack Eichel's going to win the Art Ross and the Hart. Adam Fox wins the James Norris. Patrick Kane the Bing. Trevor Zegras wins the Calder. Kako wins the Conn Smythe, which is kind of surprising. Robin Leonard wins the Vezina. Cal Peterson the Jennings. Ty Dubnyk wins the Bill Masterton. So yeah, that's what we keep winning, is the Bill Masterton. So last year it was Christopoulos. This year it was Ty Dubnyk. So good to see our 2 defensemen getting some awards. Boulerice gets a Jack Adams, Barkov the Selke, Eichel the Lindsay, and Matthews gets the Richard for the 3rd straight season. Interesting. And in AHL-wise, I don't think we had any awards, more than likely, because our AHL team's not good. Actually, we did get one, I think. Yeah, this Villa guy, but we didn't draft him, so it doesn't really matter. Interesting. And in case you guys wanted to take a look at the playoff tree, this is what the results were, just so you could see a little bit of what happened. Interesting. So that is all of year 2. Now we need to find out the draft lottery results to see where we're drafting, and then we'll take a look at the draft class just to see what is out there. We'll also take a look at our progress reports, and I think that'll be pretty much it for this episode at that point. So where are we going to be drafting, please? First overall, because we need first overall as bad as any pick, and we are going to fall from 1 to 2 again. That's the 2nd year in a row I believe that's happened. So Ottawa goes from 2 to 1, but we do have 2nd overall, which is really nice to have. another top 3 pick for our team. Okay, let's take a look at the retired players quickly. Not that these really matter that much, but in case you guys wanted to take a look at that. Yeah, not a huge retirement class by any means. And then we take a look at the goaltenders. Mike Smith is the only goalie to retire. Okay, so Spezza is now a coach. That's interesting. And speaking of coaches, we are going to have to look for a new head coach at some point. Just because we need one probably for this team to be like competitive. We do lose, I think, our goalie coach in Viborny, so that's kind of interesting. But I do think we're going to have to find a new head coach at some point that has a better scheme fit. I don't know if we want to do it this offseason or we want to wait for a few more off seasons just before we have like our core built up and then we can find a coach that fits our core more or what. But let's take a look at the draft class going into next episode. Since we have the second overall pick, we are not going to be getting Bedard. I forgot it was the Bedard draft. So Bedard's going to go to Ottawa, which means we could get Lucic, who's a left-wing playmaker. Similar to Patrick Kane, he does have some X factors. Will probably be a pretty good player. And since he's a playmaker, putting him next to a sniper wouldn't be a bad option. There's also a potentially, well, definitely a power forward in Gene Thornton, who also looks like a really good player. And a power forward could probably score some goals for us. And he has X factors, so I would probably take the power forward over the playmaker, to be honest, but I don't know about that. There's also 2 defensemen. Thalberger is a medium elite offensive defenseman, which would be something great to bring in. He is NHL ready as well. Doesn't know for sure if he has X factors, but he is a gem, so he would be interesting too. And same with Safronov, who is potentially a defensive defenseman. But we could either address more offensive needs and get Thornton or Lucic, or we could get a defenseman in Thalberger or Safronov to help us out on the back end, because we might not be able to get another chance at a good defensive prospect. Who knows? Damn, there's also a really good goalie prospect. It's probably high elite potential. We're not going to be drafting him at second overall, but still, that's a pretty good player. Sucks that he's going so early on. Let's just take a look at potential prospects that we could pin. So for potential prospects, we could pin, let's see if there's any low elites or players that are supposed to go in other rounds that could help us out. But hopefully there's some good defensive ones in late rounds, help us out a little bit. There's a low elite, definitely somebody we would take then, in Matthias Ullman. We're going to pin him. Good, we got a scout in Germany now because we found a low elite. There's also potentially this guy who's also a low elite defenseman for the second round. We'll pin him. He's a gem apparently. So that guy I think would probably definitely be our second rounder, and then Ullman could be probably like a third or fourth rounder for our team. Sommers, anybody else with intriguing attributes? Oh, I saw one with A's and B's. Matthias Mueller, a top 6, 11th overall. Never mind. But yeah, it looks like this year's draft could help us out again, for sure. It's just more about what do we want to address. And then in terms of goalie prospects, in case we wanted to address our goaltending needs, there's the one goalie that's supposed to go really high up. And then after that, the rest of the goalies don't look that great. Obviously, we're not going to be able to draft this McAllister dude, because we're probably going to go with somebody better, like that one of those defensemen or one of those forwards. If I'm leaning to anybody, it might be Thalberger. I don't know if he's a real player, though, so he might be interesting. But in terms of the forwards, I think we'd probably go with Thornton over Lucic, just because a power forward would score some more goals, and in a playmaker is not really that great to have on the wing, to be honest. So that is the draft class. Let me take a quick look at the progress reports, and I'll show you guys. I think that would be pretty much it, because I don't think there's anything for contract-wise to show you guys. But in terms of development, we are getting a lot of development still from Kyler Morales. Like I said, 83 overall at 19, which is great. Sim is up to a 60 overall, so that's good to see him getting some growth. And whoa. What the heck? Are you kidding me? Or is that a glitch? Did Cole Sim just randomly get X Factors? Or is it just copying this other guy's X Factors over, like this Langer dude? I gotta check on Sim now, because if Sim has X Factors, that would be really awesome, considering he's a bottom 6. But I don't know how he would develop X Factors like that. No, he doesn't. Okay, so that's a glitch. It really sucks that it's a glitch. But I thought he had, honestly, X factors, and I was going to be like, what the heck? Because he's a bottom 6 forward. Like, you don't see bottom 6 forwards with X factors, really. So that would have been crazy if that was the case, but never mind. It's just oh yeah, now it's gone away. But it was like that for some reason. Croston up to a 76 overall, mostly statistical growth, but obviously he's getting a lot of ice time, so that's good. And then we also got development from Dubnik, who's a 64 now. Jaskalainen, who's an 80. Janssen's up to a 67. What else we got here? Goldobin is 64. Malhotra is 66. Nikonov is 65. Christopoulos is 63. And Turris is 62. Turris only went up by 1, which is not good. And then in terms of goalies in the system, Soderstrom's up to a 57, so he's actually developing really quickly, because he went from a 48 to a 57, which is good. And then Kahn's up to a 58, so we might have to choose between who we want to play next year. We could still marinate Soderstrom, I think, in the AHL for a few more years. But we are looking pretty good in terms of getting some progress reports, or progress from our top prospects. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Houston Sharpshooters franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll have the entire offseason again, and hopefully we can get some good prospects into our team and be a little bit better of a team for the next season. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.